There was a time, one specific time, when I was with my friend in Italy, and I was telling them, "Oh, guys, I'm gonna go to Paris. I'm gonna go to Disneyland on my own." As long as I said I'm gonna go to Paris, Disneyland, they were like, "Oh, wow, great." As soon as I said it's gonna be my first solo travel on my own, they will go like, "Are you alright? You okay? Something happened? Happened in your family?" That's how it started. But we will talk later about it after the jingle. And we are live back, second season of the Red Wall podcast. A special episode today. We got someone, Imma, for the first time, which is not Emma, it's Imma.
Yes.
This is something really cool because, me and Mike, for the first season, we had this episode with this topic as a solo travel in the pocket for a while. And there was always like back and forth. We should do it, we should not, why? So this episode was always like going forward for the next one, until then we end the season. But now it's live with a girl talking about her experience, about solo travel. How you feel about it? You ready for
ready.
this travel on the Red Wall podcast?
I'm ready.
So tell us, what do you remember about your first solo travel?
Of course. It was actually not that deep. Like, probably it's not gonna sound that deep for other people, but I was 18 and I went to Rome by myself. And obviously, I'm from Italy, and Rome was not that far from my home. But still, like, it was just me, and I went to a concert. One of my favorite artists.
Who was it?
Vasco Rossi.
Oh, Vasco Rossi.
Which, if any Italians are following, might know. I just booked everything. Like, I found tickets for the concert, which I was not expecting because it was all, sold out, very popular. And then I figured out the logistics, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna take a train, and go. And then I remember in the evening when my parents came back, I was like, oh, by the way, this weekend I'm going to Rome. And they were like, what? I'm like, yeah. I don't care. I'm 18. You have no, you can no longer tell me no. And so, they were shocked and like they were not happy with it. But I was like, look, I'm a grown up and I'm conscious, I wouldn't put myself in a uncomfortable situation. And I booked the accommodation that I booked was within almost like a monastery, like it was run by nuns. So I was like, I'm gonna be in this place. It's gonna be super safe. There is a curfew. I have to be back by 10:30, 11. I don't remember what it was, And I remember the night of the concert, I was like, am I actually gonna make it back on time, or am I gonna be locked out? But yeah, no, it was a great experience. And then the concert was fantastic, and in there I met another couple of girls who were they were friends, so they were coming together from just outside of Rome, and then we ended up staying together with the whole concert. It was really, really nice. And the next day in the place where I was staying, because it was sort of like a hostel, like what your modern hostel would be, and I met this girl from Colombia who was maybe younger than me, or pretty much the same age. So she was traveling across the world, like I don't know, her sister was based somewhere maybe in India or something, so she came to Europe and she was traveling Europe.
For the concert.
Then she was and then she was going to see her sister, her trip was so much bigger than mine. And I was like, wow, people were shocked that I was going 2 hours away from my house and this girl is just traveling across the world. And so that was pretty much that's it. This is the beginning of it.
Which is something that I'm regretting thinking about back in the day. There was many chances in my life that I could have done it, just one day only for a concert, even north of Italy, because I'm from south, right? And I didn't do it. And now that after 20 years, I'm I missed that concert, that probably that singer, that artist was on the top of their career.
At that point.
And that tour was the top one.
Yeah,
and sometimes I watching a video on YouTube, and I'm like, why did I miss it? Why I was so afraid to do that step.
Yeah.
Because you know what, sometimes it's really easy, you're playing with your friends, it's just talking. But when it comes to, booking and, put the money on and stuff, people start to,
talking yourself out of it.
Yeah, and then you find yourself should I do it or should I not?
Yeah.
So I got a lot of regrets about it. So you started under a music topic.
Yeah.
So that was your first travel, the first one. What about the second one? Was connected to the music as well?
Not really. I don't think my second one was until after I'd moved to London, actually.
Oh.
because then I think after a little bit in Italy.
So you were around the 20-ish.
Yeah. I was already 24, 25. Because I think in between then I managed to go away either with friends or, partners at the time. So I think there was like quite a big gap in between the first one and the second one.
If I'm gonna tell you, can you relate it to the fact that since I moved to London in the last 9 years, my travel experience been like huge. I think that thanks to the fact that I live in London, I have the chance to go
everywhere. That's what I was gonna say actually, to link to what you were saying. I think a lot of it in Italy is just not everything is as accessible as it is, for example, in London. Like I think if you're planning a trip from Italy, there's gonna be high chances that you probably have like 2 flights a day, or 4 flights in a week, or they're gonna be super expensive, or there's not gonna be direct flights, and so you have to go somewhere and then somewhere else, or you would have to take a train and that takes forever. I don't know, like I feel like since I moved to London, everything seems so accessible.
Thank you.
Then
Yes.
and then obviously there is an element of work as well, because like working in the hospitality industry in Italy means that you're gonna be working weekends and bank holidays. When I moved to London, I was still within the hospitality industry, but I was working Monday to Friday, and I had bank holidays. So literally most of my trips for the first 2 years were short trips, like weekends getaways to big cities in Europe, that you could reach within an hour and a half. With a decent budget, so definitely
London
allows you to travel a lot more than Italy, or at least south of Italy.
We had over one of my friends was over a couple of nights ago. We were talking about this episode, the solo travel, and she was mentioning the fact that she loves Marrakesh. She I think that she went twice already, and she had the first Marrakesh travel with a friend, a girl one, and then she went with a boyfriend. And she was telling me the story, like how different it was, like walking on the street, like 2 girls walking on the street versus walking with a boy, like a big one. She was like, what is going on? Like, it's about like some culture issue here. I mean, she didn't say that she felt like she wasn't safe, but she would tell like, having a trouble with a guy makes her feel maybe more secure.
Confident.
Something like you can relate it?
Definitely. I think it depends where you're going. I think definitely there is some cultures where it's less common for girls to either travel by themselves or even like walk around the streets by themselves. And there is definitely certain countries where you get more attention than other countries. I think most of like European capitals, they are pretty, I don't want to say tolerant, but like maybe more used to solo travelers or like big group of girls, and like in my experience, for example, I found a very big difference between Europe and Eastern Europe. I've never found myself in a very like tragic, unsafe situation. But I'm always very conscious, and I try to avoid, late nights or, neighborhoods that are a bit more isolated and things like that. But there's definitely been cases where I've felt looked at, like observed a bit more, or like, which is either people trying to understand what's going on, or just simply, you're actually attracting attention because you're a young girl on your own, traveling back and forth, so definitely something that happens. As I said, like my experience has been mostly positive, but I've definitely heard of people, and it's interesting that you picked this specific example, because I've heard experiences of couples where even the guys were telling me I could not walk around with my girlfriend that much because I would see people looking at her. So I think a lot of it is a cultural difference, which can be a cultural shock if you're not that used to traveling either on your own or simply like in different cultures. So I think it's just about like being conscious that there can be a situation in which you're gonna be a bit more uncomfortable, and how you handle it. But as I said, like most countries are very welcoming and very easy to travel.
Thinking about the fact that this is a podcast, so it can be like played and listened like all around the world. Thinking about like this might be a little girl right now listening to it, looking for some ideas or some like tips in terms of she wants to go on her own for the first time. You think that like planning has like a majority impact of your safeness? Like had to be like a well planned, you have to research where to live, where to go, where not.
Yeah, I definitely do. I definitely do a research, like an initial research of the most recommended neighborhoods. like where to stay. And obviously nowadays there is so much information that you can just find, you know, like if you Google it, or I guess nowadays ChatGPT, Copilot, whatever it is, but like if you just type on the internet, I'm going to this destination, what's the safest neighborhood to be in? You can easily find that information. So it's something that I've done a lot, especially at the beginning. I was much younger, so, and it was my initial experience, my first experiences. So I definitely did that. So researching which neighborhood is safer, and usually it would tell you the opposite as well. Like it would tell you which neighborhood to avoid. And then the more the community of solo travelers and female solo travelers especially grows, the more information you find out there. Like there's a lot of experiences of other travelers that will tell you, I felt really unsafe here, or I actually enjoyed very much here because it's accessible, everything is close, it's walking distance, or you have the tube very close, you know, things like that. So I definitely did a lot of research to start with, in terms of what was safe and what was not, and like what experiences to do and what not to do. But I think it's important to share the experience after you've been somewhere, because it's going to help someone else find their answers, basically.
If you think about it, like the wildest so far, which one was the one that you can compare to other, like, oh, I've done the like, because you're here today because you got really great and big background.
Yeah.
Your travel luggage is quite huge.
Yeah, like only figurative though, because I travel very light. I always travel very light in terms of the actual luggage, but in terms of experience,
But you know what? I remember once I was with friend and we were like texting you, and you were like, "Oh, I'm just feeding a giraffe." Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Where are you?
That was probably the wildest. Like going to Kenya by myself was probably the wildest, especially because it was not even within the group that I ended up traveling with, it was not that common. Like I booked everything from here, so I knew what company was gonna take me on the safari. I knew where I was staying, you know, like. But then I got there, and like within my group there were 5 girls from Asia which were traveling together. Although I'll tell you a little bit of this in a second. And then there were 2 ladies from Italy that were traveling alone, but who met the night before, like by, you know, like incidentally, they were both doing a stop in the same place and then coming to Kenya, even though coming from different places. So they ended up almost like joining, and, you know, they ended up like sharing a room while we were there, like always being together. While these 5 girls that were traveling from Asia, they were actually telling me that there is an app that you can sign up to, and you know, where you share where you're going.
Is the app still on?
Yeah. This was like 2 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So you sign yourself up and you say, you know, I'm going to this place, I'm looking for people to travel with. And that's how they met. So they were all willing to go to the same destination, and then they decided to meet in one place. I think they were coming from China, so they met in China in one specific place, and then they traveled together. But definitely when I told people, you know, I'm going to Kenya, and they were like, what? I was like, yeah, you know, like I booked a safari, I know where I'm going, I know who I'm staying with, I'm definitely going to be with a group of people, so it's going to be fine.
It's not that common, but that's a wild one, you know?
I know, and then I guess it's also more shocking because I'm not the kind of person that talks a lot about it. So maybe you'll tell me, oh, what are you doing next weekend? I'm like, oh, actually next week I'm going to be in Kenya. And you're going to be like, what? Like, when did this come up to, you know? Like, where did you decide? And maybe I decided 2 days before. Like, while initially I used to plan everything to the detail, now I'm a lot more free and a lot more confident that it's going to be fine. Mm-hmm. And maybe I'm a bit naive, or, you know, but that's it. That's how it's been so far.
Something that you were saying before, like probably comparing to 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, now there are more like travel agencies that are like selling the solo travel experience. And it's cool because at some point you can do your own solo travel, but in the meantime you can meet other solo travelers, so you can kind of deal and do something together.
Absolutely.
How much are you looking for spend your time with other people when you're traveling?
I would say that I don't actually go looking for it. But I've had very, very nice experiences of meeting other people that were traveling alone, and
that might depend of your destination.
Yes, I mean, as like something like a safari in Kenya, you know, you're gonna be with other people, unless you're booking like your luxury one that is normally, you know, couples doing honeymoon or things like that. You know, like I wouldn't do that by myself. I don't think that would be I don't think they would have the same impact. I don't think I would enjoy it as much. Like, it was actually really good being with a group of like 5-6 people, and it just so happened that it was all women, but there were other groups that were mixed, like different ages, different backgrounds. Like, it's really nice. Like, certain activities I think work a lot better when you have a group. When I normally travel to specific places is because I want to experience the place, and so what I find that works really well for me being by myself is that I don't have to rely on either what other people want to do, or I don't have to compromise what I want to do because of what other people want to do. And I've gone on holidays with my friends and I've loved it, but that's a different concept for me, like if I'm going on holiday with a friend, I know I'm gonna chill, we're gonna take it easy, we're gonna go try the food, we're gonna go to the beach, I don't know, like
if
it's
the common plan
relaxing.
is that one.
Exactly.
Because I can tell that there are many like friendship that sometimes they've been
broken
ruined.
up because
yeah,
of
because
that. Absolutely.
I don't know if it's like the wrong destination, just the wrong idea that they couldn't like manage together.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've had that experience when I was a lot younger. But we're talking maybe when I was in high school, and like one summer we decided to go on holiday all together, and it was maybe like 10 people. And how do you put 10 heads together? Like everyone wants to do something different. Not to say that it's not nice. Like it works if you have the same idea, or if you agree that like you're gonna separate at some points. Like this today, I want to go to the beach. You guys want to wake up late. It's fine. We're gonna meet for lunchtime later on. But like if everyone starts to pull in different directions, that's when the friction starts, and you're gonna definitely have someone that is not gonna enjoy the holiday that much. So definitely, I do like meeting other people and doing things together, as long as I can feel that the person is on my same wavelength. And I can give you an example if you want to do
Yeah, go for it.
But when I went to Japan, I was pretty much set.
So Kenya and Japan in just 10 minutes of recording, guys. Can you believe it?
There is more.
More coming. All right, go ahead.
But yeah, when I went to Japan, I knew I was going to be 2 weeks there by myself. And so, for example, the first thing that I do, if I do a trip that is as long, I try to mix and match the accommodations I'm going to stay at, so that I'm not by myself for the whole 14 days, like in a hotel room, like not meeting anyone other than receptionist, basically. So when I went to Japan, it was a mix of like, I'm going to do a few days in a hostel, and I'm going to do a few days in a traditional accommodation. I'm going to do a few days in a hotel, so that I can like pamper myself a little bit and like relax after a long day of walking. And so the first 2 days I spent in Japan, I met this guy. It was very random. Like I was just sitting downstairs in the common area with a book, like chilling and like trying to plan what to do the next day. And this guy from Australia was sitting next to me and was like, "Oh, this is a very nice book. Like I read it like not long ago." So we started talking. And like you start sharing your experience. What are you doing? Where did you arrive? How long are you gonna stay? Etc. Etc. And we both said that we were planning to go to the Mount Fuji. So we ended up just like when are you free? What are you doing tomorrow? Like long story short, it was maybe 9 p.m. and we decided to meet the next day at 7 a.m. and take the train to go together. And it was such a nice day. And I still have his Instagram or whatever. I wouldn't say we are in touch, but it's nice then to see what the person that you met on a trip is doing, and like some things obviously you end up talking about, like I don't know, plans for the future, and then you actually see that it's happening. I don't know. It's a very nice way to connect. But as I said before, like I could actually feel that we were pretty much on the same wavelength.
Yeah.
Like he was traveling by himself, and he was planning to do this and this and this, and it was very clear from the beginning, like I have these days free, so we can do this together. And then I think we met again like maybe the week after or so, before both of us were doing other things. So there was no commitment or like no, it has to be that from now on we're gonna do the whole trip together. So yeah, it worked really well.
So far never happened like you had the chance to plan another kind of solo travel with someone that you met on your other solo travel, or maybe you were in touch with someone kind of planning something together? Kind of. So it's possible.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when you end up talking about what destinations you want to do next, and then maybe you have one in common. I wouldn't say that I've done that, but I definitely like I met someone during my trip to East Europe, which then became one of my very close friends, and she just came to visit London not long ago. And so, well, the thing is, like we were planning, we didn't plan, but we were both in Portugal at the same time last year.
As a solo travel.
No, I was traveling by myself. She was traveling with her boyfriend.
Okay.
But she just saw my story on Instagram. She was like, "Oh my God, you're going to Lisbon?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm just traveling. Like, I don't remember, today or tomorrow." And she was like, "No way, we're here because Taylor Swift's concert. Blah blah. We're staying for a couple of days." And it just so happened that on the day that I was landing, they were gonna leave. So we were gonna potentially be at the airport at the same time, and I was like, fantastic! Like, let's just have lunch or tea, something together. And then on the day, their flight was delayed, so they ended up going to the airport much later than when I arrived. So we couldn't match. But then she ended up coming to London. But it's one of those people that we've always said, oh, maybe if I cannot come to Romania and you cannot come to London, maybe we can just meet somewhere halfway through. So there has definitely been people that I've met that I've been in touch with, I stayed in touch with. I would be lying if I said that I've traveled somewhere with someone else. But it happened that someone that I know from here was going to the same destination at the same time, and so we ended up spending a day together. But you can build very, very good and very close relationships. Like, I'm gonna drop the next bomb, but Vietnam last year, I met this super, super nice couple from India. And we shared phone numbers, and they were so adamant that I should go visit them, and then whenever I go I can get in touch with them and they will like host me in their house and things like that. So you definitely meet people that, I guess, like not elderly, but like people that are more senior than you take a liking at you because they maybe see their son, their daughters in you, like you could be their child, and so they're overprotective, and they're like, oh, if you ever come to our country, we look after you.
So that's your next trouble, India? Could it be?
Maybe. Could be, yeah. Okay. Definitely. I mean, I have friends there, so.
Oh, now you do. Well, you see, this girl is full of surprises, and I think that we should take a little break, and maybe we should then start with the second part. What do you think?
We'll be back.
Speak later. Bye.